Alright, what's going on, guys? Blood Moon Bobby here, and this is the last movie I'll be checking out for Scorsese Saturdays. Admittedly, I really wished I could have had a more, diverse set of films set throughout Scorsese's history rather than just three movies from the 90s and one from the 70s. But I think overall, I picked a good amount for this month. Maybe one of these days I can review more movies. Like The Aviator, Mean Streets, Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. There's a lot of others that I could also check out. But anyway, we are here to check out Goodfellas, which is Scorsese's classic crime drama, the biopic of Henry Hill and how he got into the mob in his area. So, what do I think overall? And it's late at night, by the way. This is why I'm talking in a sort of lower tone of voice. Overall, I can say I feel really glad I saw it. Like, I really love how this movie portrays the mob life as not like a bad decision or villainous decision, but it portrays it as a sort of way of life, you know. I think Roger Ebert said it best when he reviewed the movie, where he basically called it the portrait of an American life in terms of there was young ambition, there was people who see potential. In this case, it's Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci, the latter of which I really liked in this movie as this really hot-headed, intimidating character. What was I saying? But once you get past the sort of, this is, it, like Marty makes this movie about Henry Hill's life as if it is about a young guy who finds potential and works his way up. The rest of the movie, the biggest problem I have with it is there doesn't seem to be much cohesion past the first act. Because, in the first act it shows that, from a young age, Henry, played by the amazing Ray Liotta, I'm surprised he was not in more well-known movies. He, works his way up. He, the mob likes him. He gets to know Joe Pesci and De Niro's characters. But after that first act, after he starts getting good at it, there doesn't really seem to be much of a plot. And I know in the case of Scorsese, in his mind, plot isn't everything. To him, what's more important is what his characters do and how they act. And, that's why his actors are always top notch. Which, seriously, if you're thinking of getting into acting, if you want to know what it's like to, really get in character, you really need to see any of the 4 movies I've reviewed this month. So the acting is there, and like I said, I think the premise is fantastic, but I really wish there was some sort of cohesion, because, in the middle of the movie, you got things like Henry's sort of tumultuous, well, it is a tumultuous relationship with his wife, played by Lorraine Bracco, who I think really deserved that Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Shame she didn't win, though. And they kind of, I'm surprised they glance over this airport robbery, which I know at least the movie says that Henry himself wasn't involved in, but it's like I wanted to see some more scenes. He's like, I feel like we could have seen more of that airport robbery. And what else is there? So we got the tumultuous relationship. Henry's actually cheating on his wife in the movie. Surprisingly enough, Liotta actually met the real Henry Hill, and he told him, "Hey, thanks for not making me look like an asshole," which tells me so the real life events were even worse than the actual movie. Oh, I don't know for sure, but it's just like, that's weird. I mean, great. The real Henry Hill complimented Ray Liotta for his portrayal of him, but I don't know. Let's focus on the movie here. But what else can I really say? I mean, but for all this meandering, I will say that I think it does work for this movie, at least in terms of it is stuff that I am interested in. And I know a lot of people are going to compare Goodfellas to The Wolf of Wall Street because, yeah, both movies are really, have very similar premises, at least in terms of it's, showing us the lives of people who did not so great stuff, which in The Wolf of Wall Street, obviously, it was Leonardo DiCaprio playing the corrupt banker Jordan Belfort. There's a lot, like, the thing about Goodfellas is I think it has a much more sort of human portrayal than The Wolf of Wall Street. Like, if Goodfellas, it actually does feel more like you're looking into the life of this person, when you're looking at, when he goes to meet up with his family, he meets his friends, and the interesting thing about the mob life in this movie is that, it's not portrayed as, a hood life sort of a thing. It's actually, there is still this sort of high level of respect, this high sort of, I wouldn't use the word aristocracy, but there is sort of a je ne sais quoi, if you will, to living the life. There is a sense of tradition in this, which I felt was really cool. I will say one of the things that I think hurt my viewing experience with Goodfellas is I tend to be one of those people who likes to look up clips of the movies before I watch them, since I don't always get time to watch the movie in whole, and I feel like had I not look those up, I would have been more blown away by Goodfellas, because I already kind of knew the way it was portraying the mob life. And no, I don't think it's necessarily condoning it. I think it is by portraying, giving it a sort of gravitas, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. They're trying to, show it in a more realistic sort of a light. So for any people out there that think, oh, Goodfellas is glamorizing the mob life, I have to disagree. So what else can I really say? I think the premise is amazing. The cinematography and editing is brilliant. Like, some of the editing in this movie, I think, is among film Schoonmaker's best. So, God bless her if she's out there. And Michael Ballhaus, the cinematographer, which I'm like, rest in peace. I'm so sad that he had to leave the surf before I got to see the film and all. I know, like, I probably would have never gotten the chance to meet Ballhaus in real life, but I always like to see an artist's work before they pass away, because I don't want to make it feel like it's too late to see their work, Not that it is, but still. And he also did the cinematography in The Age of Innocence. And of course, in The Age of Innocence, the cinematography is beautiful. In Goodfellas, it's very sweeping. There's a lot of handheld scenes that were shot handheld, which were appropriate for the really nerve-wracking scenes that required them. Editing. I mean, like I said before, the actors, are pretty much are all at the top of their games. I really liked how they ad-libbed a lot of these scenes, and I kind of realized, watching, these Scorsese films, the power of ad-libbing, where it makes your characters more genuine when you can let your actors be in character and go off the script, So, yeah, there's some really stellar acting, and I don't know, it's really weird. I wished I had a lot more to say about Goodfellas, but I think it just all comes down to my main flaw with the film is that it really lacks a sort of cohesion. I mean, I'm not really sure what else I would have done. I guess, I mean, I could say, I would have organized it out more, but I guess, because the thing about the movie is that it takes place over 3 decades of Henry Hill's life in the mob, so I don't really know what, obviously I don't have the screenwriting talents of Marty and the other screenwriter, Nick Pileggi, so I can't really say what I would have done, but I would have liked there to have been a lot more of a cohesion. It just kind of feels like after Henry gets into the mob, it just, kind of just goes from there. He's in the mom now. He's getting involved in some crimes. He has his stressful days, and it's really the kind of thing I would expect a movie to go off on for maybe only like a few minutes, but I didn't really expect an entire movie to go meandering like this. But I think aside from that, overall, Goodfellas has a really amazing premise, stellar acting, splendid cinematography, and very tight editing. Would I watch it again? Definitely. I would really like to show a lot of people, especially those who are wanting to study film. Like, if you want to know what I consider good technique and good acting, this is it. So it's so weird. Right. Even now, like, I started thinking, do I like this movie more or less than Cape Fear, which I reviewed last week with that very spectacular finale? And I'm honestly not really sure, because I really like Goodfellas' his premise. Like, it's a much more well-made movie, if you will, whereas in Cape Fear, while I think Cape Fear grabbed me more and it had more of a structure, admittedly, it does, like, even as a person who hasn't seen too many psychological thrillers, I can tell it doesn't really break new ground in the psychological thriller genre, whereas in the case of Goodfellas, I think it's really outstanding. It's a very innovative film in its genre, so I don't really know if I can comment on that sort of thing here. But I can really say that Goodfellas is a really terrific movie, among one of the best Scorsese films I've seen so far. So if you guys got some time to watch it, or even if you don't, hell, make some time to watch it, I would highly recommend it. So, alright guys, this has been Blood Moon Bobby. Thank you for joining me for Scorsese Saturdays. It's been a real treat to see these really great films made by the legendary Martin Scorsese, and I'd like to see more of his work in the future. I mean, if there was another week this month, I would definitely review like Aviator, Mean Streets, or Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, but we'll have to get to that some other time. So alright guys, thanks for watching, thanks for following me this month, and I'll see you later. Hey guys, this has been a Blood Moon Bobby video. Please like this video or dislike it, and please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.